Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. Well, just before the GST collection numbers, we were addressing the topic of education loans and how essentially education loans as well are at very high levels this year, despite the fact that the pandemic has caused a lot of schools and colleges to remain shut. So we thought, let's get you a strategy on how you can efficiently pay for your education overseas and also pay down your education loan. I have with me Gaurav Aggarwal, Director and Head of Unsecured Loans with PaisaBazaar.com. Gaurav, thank you so much for taking our time to join us on the Money Show today. So, Gaurav, to start with, considering that most of the higher educational institutes today remain shut, at least offline classes are not happening. Brick and mortar classes are not happening. Everything seems to be largely online, and students are continuing to study remotely. Is an education loan in such a situation even a viable option for students? Even if let's say talk about the next academic year, which starts from maybe August or September, there's still so much uncertainty, because we don't know what the situation on travel, on even the the country overseas issuing an Indian student a visa.
So, if you see, Veena, over the last 12 months, while the world has been hit and India also has been hit by the pandemic, the education has not really stopped. If you were to think about it and see, the mode of education has changed over the last 12 months. I think the education system has adapted to the new situation, and that's how the world is going to. I think the world is going to adopt to the new situation also. So imagine my son is 3 years old. He started his preschool and he started it remotely. So that's been the situation for the last 12 months. And as we see as the world normalizes, you are seeing education institutions opening up as we talk. And I think the situation is going to normalize even further. But what's happened over the last 12 months is that while education is continued, the expenses also have largely continued. Because the whole system has to work. The teachers have to get salaries. The parents have been paying their fee. So the expense has been largely similar over the last 12 months also. And to finance this expense, I think education loan is the best option that we have in the market even today. Of course, what's happened over the last 12 months, because of the impact of the pandemic, the employments have been impacted, the incomes have been impacted. The lenders of education loans have been slightly conservative in giving out loans, and that's probably likely to remain over the near future. But from a consumer's perspective, education loan still remains the most viable option.
Okay. Gaurav, what are the factors then one must keep in mind while applying for an education loan in the aftermath of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think while education loan has been available for the last 15, 20 years, I think what after the pandemic, I think things that we should keep in mind is some things have become more important. One of the things is that while you're choosing a course or choosing an institute to pursue that course, a greater thrust has to be given on the post course or post education employment prospects. That's become really important from a post-COVID in the post-COVID era, especially in foreign education, where countries have changed their visa or work permit requirements also. So that I think remains one of the largest, one of the areas of concern. Secondly, I think again related to is you have to check your financial means. To us, means what money that you require to give now in terms of either margin money or the other cost that you have to incur outside the loan amount that you will get. And also from a future perspective, when you start serving the EMIs, the repayment capability of yourself and of the student when he gets employed or his parents become important. So I think keeping your financial means in mind while going for an education without the entire money being in your hand is something we should think about. Also, while we've after these things, when we've decided that we should go for a loan, I think what's most important is to check multiple offers across lenders, where there'll be differences in multiple lenders in terms of whether they actually fund that course or institute or college, what's the interest rate that they're going to charge, what is the processing fee, what's the tenor that they're likely to offer, and what heads of the expense are they likely to fund. So I think these are the important things that people should keep in mind while applying for a education loan in this era now.
Okay, fair enough. Gaurav, what should, or rather, how can one financially prepare themselves as well before applying for the education loan? And, what about existing customers? What would your advice be to them?
Uh, yes and no. Actually, Veera, on the preparation, I think uh, after above a certain amount, the lenders will ask you for margin money, which can range anywhere between 5 and 20% of the expense. That is, I think, one of the most important things. They may ask also for some for collateral to fund the expenses. So that is something we should keep in mind before applying, before thinking about taking a loan. Also, what you should keep in mind is how much EMIs or what is my EMI servicing or repayment capacity as today and as well as in future. Because that will become important once the repayment starts after the course and after the EMI holiday period has ended. So this is on the financial bit. I think on the other side, if let on the when you said that if you have money, do you should you maximize your own money? Yes, I would advise that because it's important to fund your education. It's important to fund anything that you have. Anything that you have from your own side. Also, what it does is it reduces your interest burden, which is going to be accruing over the course duration and also after the course duration when the repayment starts. So yes, if you have money, I would advise using your own money to fund your education.
Finally, Gaurav, I want to understand on the repayment bit, how flexible are banks and financial institutions when it comes to repaying that education loan, given the circumstances are what they are right now?
I think it's the level of flexibility might not be as much as it was pre-COVID in terms of for new customers. So the underwriting, if you say, or the assessment of risk might be more stringent than earlier. But if you're an existing customer of an education loan, and if you are struggling to, or let's say you are finding it difficult to service the EMIs, I think banks today are flexible enough to take those requests and give you and I think as an existing owner, you must request your lender to help you give you an EMI holiday in case of an education loan, or in as the case may be, restructure your loan to help you go through this period. And also, one interesting option could be that if you could balance transfer your current education loan to another lender, which helps you because the interest rates currently are fairly low versus when the loan may have been taken. So you could balance transfer to reduce your interest burden and also to extend your tenor, so which can reduce your EMI.
Gaurav, really appreciate you joining us today, and thank you so much. I hope this is a conversation that is useful for the parents and students out there as they brace themselves, for an overseas education in this new world.